I think we're live.
We are live. Here we go. Good morning, everyone in Coaches, Consultants, and Trainers Network. This is a very fun day. I'm excited to be here with Shaun Aaron Cassidy. Shaun was one of the original testers of LinkedIn. So he's been on there since we were joking, like the beginning of time, beginning of LinkedIn. He's basically an expert in it. He owns the Cassidy Creative Solutions, and he is here today to help us grow our LinkedIn business. So thank you for being here. How are you?
Yeah, I'm honored to be on. Thanks. I'm grateful to be on and to be of service to others within your group. So yeah, LinkedIn is, one of the first social media. So there was actually nothing before LinkedIn. LinkedIn was the first social media. So
Really?
yeah, it's before Facebook. It predates Facebook.
I did not
So
know that.
LinkedIn's really quite old. Yeah, it's one of the beginning of social media, I guess you would say. And so yeah, I was part of the early beta testing of that after I got out of the military.
Mm-hmm.
I did intelligence work for the military, like government computer work. So I was a computer nerd out of the military.
Uh-huh.
And I was asked to beta test that when I went to work for a startup called the internet company called Travelocity. And so I
Really?
was part of the startup of the internet company Travelocity, and also part of the beta of LinkedIn. So I was like early. I'm an early, very early, you would say, internet person.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. I think that for me, and probably quite a few people in the group are obviously coaches, consultants, and trainers, most of us. Um, the LinkedIn's a little scary. Like I don't understand like how to use it or appropriately and how to make the right post or what I'm supposed to do, business wise. So I'm really excited to have you on and explain some things to us, maybe help us, walk us through what it would look like or what we should be doing on the website or on the what do you call it? It's not an application.
Well, they call it a social media.
A
What
social
I actually call it is a search engine.
search engine.
Search engine, yeah. So I mean, I think to understand LinkedIn, you have to think like it's a Google, and it's a
Oh,
Google for companies and people, and that's how I use it. So it is a social media. It's always been called a social media, like a professional network, and
mm-hmm.
it's been heavily used for recruiting for a long time. And I mean, LinkedIn's bread and butter is really selling to the recruiting network, so people getting employment. That's always been the way they've made money initially, right? But at the core of LinkedIn, what it does is it's a relationship marketing tool, and it's mostly in the corporate sector. It's mostly about getting access to people in the corporate world and to the corporate arena.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't the creative arena really didn't catch on to it till later. Like some of the creative people, like photographers or people like that, they catched on to it later because they were self-employed. Like self-employed
Right.
people, so they weren't really looking for jobs, right?
Right.
Necessarily, they might be looking to work with other people, but that kind of in the beginning of LinkedIn, it was a lot about corporate data and corporate information and corporate businesses.
Yeah.
And
And
later
so,
it catched on, like when Facebook came out, then it started to compete in that way.
yeah. And so it's a kind of a who there's different numbers like next to people's names. Like there's like a 3 or a 2 or a 1, right? Are those the only? Yeah.
Yeah, when it was first started, there was this movie with Kevin Bacon. It was called 6 Degrees of Separation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that movie was like a Hollywood movie, right? And it was like the same time that they were developing LinkedIn. And so that movie was about how everybody in the world was connected by 6 degrees. You could know somebody, they know somebody, you would know everybody in the world. So it was a cool movie, right? It was a cool conceptual movie. But when they made LinkedIn, they actually made it 3 degrees of separation. I think I can connect everybody professionally, 3 degrees. And so the first degree, when you're connected on LinkedIn, you can see people, you can connect with them as long as there's no security issues where they put in their security profile, which they can do, but a lot of people don't do that. Most people don't do that. Only recruiters, you'll see that only in the recruiting space where they restrict how they can see who knows who, because they're going to say, oh, well, I'm working with, recruiting spaces are kind of more restricted. They might restrict you seeing who's looking for a job, right? Because that would be, they don't want the employer to know that you're looking for a job. And
Yeah.
so you only see that. But in general, I have a very open network. I hit the max on LinkedIn in 2004, which is 30,000 people.
Like
So that
people, like contacts?
contacts, 30,000 contacts. So for example, in Facebook, you can have 5 in a personal Facebook, right? But you can have a
Okay.
lot in your business page, millions. But in your personal LinkedIn, because you can do LinkedIn groups as well, you can do a max of 30,000 people. That's quite a lot of people, actually, right? So you have the first degree, and in the first degree, you can message people. You can generally see who knows who by most everybody, as long as they don't have any restrictions on their network. And you can network and chat like you're doing in Facebook, right? You can, go back and forth and chat, send information back and forth. You can also send documents. You can send videos now. You can send a lot of different multimedia via chat in LinkedIn. And you can also do live video now in LinkedIn, which really is relatively new. It's relatively new. It's like maybe 2 years old, a year and a half, a year old in that.
Like a video, like if I was going to send you a video, like I can send you, or you mean I can post a video?
I can post it. You can actually go live on there, just like you can go live on Facebook. Like we're going, we're in Facebook right now. But you can also send attachments now, a video attachment. You can do multimedia. I mean, you can do PDFs, video. You can do multimedia. A long time ago, LinkedIn bought out this company called SlideShare. And in the beginning of LinkedIn, they had a company called SlideShare, and it was like an app. There was a third-party app that LinkedIn used. But what they did was say, oh, we love this app. And this app allowed you to upload pretty much any kind of multimedia into your profile, as well as to parts of LinkedIn. So what they did is say, oh, well, we love you. We're going to buy you. And so LinkedIn just bought out the software called SlideShare. And that integrated itself into the ability for you to do these attachments and videos and all this stuff into LinkedIn. So along the process of LinkedIn did buyouts of certain apps to integrate itself into making it more user-friendly. But at the core of what LinkedIn does is it's a relationship marketing tool that gets you access to high-level people. And what I mean by that is that it can take you to the corporate level in a fast way that you can't do in other social media spaces or other spaces. So if you wanted to network with the VP of IBM, it'd be very hard to do that in Facebook. You might be able to find them with their family there or something like that, but not a lot of VPs in that arena would network on Facebook with you, but they would in LinkedIn because LinkedIn's more professional space to them. So the corporate sector views LinkedIn in a different way than they do Facebook or Instagram. And so that space there is, it's a blessed space once you get an influence space in it, because you can get access to corporate people really, really fast.
Yeah. So, okay. And so the numbers by their name are how, if they're a 1, a 2, or a 3, so it's 3 degrees of separation. So what would it take to talk to somebody who, so for a 3 is that's the easiest ones to talk to?
So to make it simple, you have your first degree, and then your second degree are all the people that your first degree know. So that could be in the millions, right? And then the third degree is all the people the second degree know. The third degree is actually an area I try to avoid, because third degree really looks like, if you're going after third degree all the time, it looks like you're spamming, right? So it says you don't know those people. So this is very ironic, right? They made a software that said you must connect with people you know and network with people you know, but they allow you to do 30,000 people. So, who in the right mind knows 30,000 people, right? Like personally, nobody knows 30,000 people personally. I don't care if you're like a national figure, you don't know 30,000 people, nationally, right? You don't. Apologize for that. You just don't. And your mind can maybe handle 100 people max, maybe less than, to understand, even what's talking with people or understanding people. So it's built on a false narrative, right?
Yeah.
And LinkedIn's built on a false narrative. So that narrative is based on this first degree. This first degree says we can all network and talk to each other and see each other's information and who's connected to who. The second degree is really the powerful degree, and that is all the people that those people know. And so, in effect, what I'm building at all times is second degrees, not first degrees. I knew at all times that I would have 30,000 max, because I knew as a beta tester that there was a max.
Yeah.
So my job really was to hack the software at that point. So I knew that I would connect to 30,000 people. It was a given, right? I was a given. I would try to connect to as many people as I possibly could to hit the 30,000 mark. So when I hit the 30,000 mark, then I realized what I'm telling you. I realized, what was behind it. It took that much experience to figure it out. But you have your first degree, your second degree is what you're actually building. So when you're building networks in the first degree, you're really concentrating on how many people do these people know? How influential are they? What's their relationship to me? And what is the strategy I'm doing? Why am I connecting to those people, right? So if I'm connecting them for employment, work, or something, I'm really strategically looking at a market, right? So let's say they're all in tourism, right? All these people I'm connecting to is all in tourism, or they're all in real estate, right? So, because I want to work with people in real estate. So I can systematically take the corporate data of all the real estate companies, and I could say, oh, these are the top 20 real estate companies. And then I can go in the business pages and I can look at all the vice presidents and the higher ups of every corporation. And then I can begin to see if they're in my second levels. If they're in my second levels, I can really kind of automatically request them because they know somebody I know.
Yeah.
If they're in my third levels, it looks like spamming, right? So my goal at that point is to go into the corporation and get access to somebody in the corporation so that they shift from third to second. So, okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is get access to the most likely people in a corporation that's going to say yes to me every time. And those are generally the HR directors and the directors of marketing inside of a company. And those people are very aggressive about looking for employment for people, recruiting people, and the other end, they're selling things, right? So they're generally going to say yes almost all the time.
That they will so and what you're saying there is when we send a connect request,
yes,
they are going to say yes to that connect request because they are in HR and marketing. And so if they say yes to me, somebody at IBM says yes to me in HR and marketing, then that puts them at a level 1, which means their boss, the vice president, is going to be a level 2 because they're
exactly.
Hey,
Exactly. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I realized when I hit 30,000, I became a dangerous person because I get to get access to a lot of corporate executives.
Yeah.
And then they would talk to me
in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, but they would talk to me. I was like, who gets a chance to talk to corporate executives? Just they actually would start talking to me. So I started to realize that had some power to it. Right. But yeah, anybody can do that. Really, anybody can do that. But you're dealing with social influence. And the reason they would talk to me is that I would know, 50 people they know.
Yeah.
They could look at 50 or 100 people I was connected to that they knew personally or done business with or respected.
Yeah.
So they would be glad to talk to me because it's based on a social hierarchy, a social blessing, you would say, right? And I think our corporate space is actually based on that blessing. It's like, okay, it used to be the old boy network. You called the old boy network was the golf course, right? And then the golf course, all the deals are being made. So what LinkedIn is kind of like a virtual golf course, right? Where deals are being made or contacts are being made and they're talking deals and they're talking business. And it's a blessed area. It's like the blessed golf course. It used to be the old boy network. Now it's can be the old girl network. It can be everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody. It kind of actually changed the old boy network. It kind of broke the mold of access.
That's awesome. I'm writing down notes, so don't think I'm not paying attention.
Okay.
I'm like looking down. I'm like writing down because I want to remember this. Even though I'm gonna, it's recorded, I can go back and watch it.
Okay, cool.
So funny. I forget that sometimes though. If I write things down, I will remember them more than watching them. So
okay,
that's a good thing.
I'm ready to give you, kind of gold nuggets. Like the gold nuggets about it. I mean, here's a couple really important things about LinkedIn. Your picture is really, really important in the algorithm in LinkedIn, right? You say in Facebook and Instagram, we want to have a nice, photograph of ourselves, but LinkedIn's really important in that because you really have to have a photograph that is looking directly at people as if you were Skyping with them or Zooming with them, like right now. And so, when you see me right in the eyes, there's a sense of honesty about that, right? As you get closer to it, you sense a personality and honesty. But in LinkedIn, if it's a distant or it's far away or whatever, even in the algorithm, when you're searching people on the side or searching out people, it just won't radiate with you. You won't relate. You'll relate to the people that are right in your face, looking at you directly and invoke a sense of honesty in that way, a sense of transparency. So the
Yeah.
photograph is actually very, very important in LinkedIn. The second thing that's really most important in LinkedIn is your title. And that title relates to not just, you can be creative and you could say, some people just want one title, I'm an accountant, and they say I'm an accountant. Well, it's kind of boring, right? I'm just an accountant. I mean, if you Google an accountant or in there, you're going to see hundreds of thousands of accountants all over the world, right?
Yeah.
But if you have an accountant and I'm this and I'm that and that, then it goes into search that way because you're thinking of LinkedIn as a search engine, right? So you want to be found in LinkedIn. So your title is very, very important to be found. So I usually have a recommendation of 3 to 4 title lists in each title.
So mine is CEO and founder. So I should add 2 more?
Yeah, I think 2 more. What I have, like at the end of it, I also play with it. I say global citizen, like one of part of mine. But I play with a little. Sometimes I change my titles, but I play with a little bit at times. Like I call myself an executive marketer at times, using the word executive and marketer. So executive is a tag, right? So what you have to think about when your title is that it's actually a searchable tag. The title is a searchable tag. So right now when it says, you say CEO founder, when people look for CEO, you're going to come up. When people look for founder, you're going to come up, right? But you want to have more than that, right?
So I show up on more searches.
Right. You want to have more than that. Yeah. So
and you recommend 4?
Yeah, I recommend 3 to 4. It really is. When I work with people, I'm looking specifically at creating a fingerprint, which is unique to individuals. I think everybody's unique. So when I look at wording, I'm working with people, I'm looking to be unique to them. So exactly what you actually provide to the world, right? So sometimes that is unique to an individual. Like you have a name of a company and you provide a very specific service. So you could play with that wording related to the specific service you offer to the world. Not just the standard title, right?
Like I could put in, so the name of my company is Go for Goals, Accountability Partner Services, but I always call it Go for Goals. But I could put in accountability in a tag.
Yeah, accountability
agent,
expert, accountability, innovator, things like you can begin to play with titles. And sometimes I recommend that people search out other people to see how they play with their titles, right? And you're in a global world, so you can look at somebody in Paris. I mean, you can look at somebody in New York. I mean, you can look at somebody in Singapore. You look at somebody in Vancouver, right? So it's a global space, right?
Right.
That's what's really interesting about LinkedIn. It's a global business space. So you can look around the world to see how everybody's doing it, right? So you don't have to think so hard. You got to search out and look like, oh, is there somebody else doing something like I'm doing? And it's kind of cool if there's somebody not doing what you're doing, because then you get to make that up, right? But if there's somebody around the world that's synergy with you, then you can kind of look at how they are describing themselves. And you can begin to look at that wording and how to angle that wording. And that way, angle that wording related to being searched for your services or products.
Like I love Jack Canfield, and his thing is America's #1 success coach. And I'm like, wow, he already took that one. So I'm going to be San Diego's #1 success coach.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. And you actually put something interesting in there, because I mean that would take up your whole title. So I would recommend you put it in the summary. And so the next page, most important part of LinkedIn, and is the actual selling part of LinkedIn. You really won't get much out of LinkedIn if you don't do this part.
Okay.
And a lot of people fail to do that. And that is have a really good summary. And the summary is like the about area below your photograph. And it tells everybody about who you are and what you're about. And it should answer these 2 questions. Why are you there, and what's the purpose of your business and your work? So it should explain that to people, so that you actually are getting something out of working and being on that application, right? So this is the part that confuses a lot of people, because most people just do experience and don't do the summary. And the summary is really the selling story. It is actually the actual selling story of LinkedIn.
Okay. So it's why am I here? Like, why am I here on LinkedIn?
Right.
And then what is the purpose of my work? Like what I do.
Yeah. And who do you do it for? Right. So, and that's the part of the same question, right? But so you say, I am you're saying I do accountability and I work directly with these type of individuals, right? I work CEOs, I worked with, so I like to put in there specific names of titles, therefore that's in search, right? So I like to say I work specifically with these types of individuals, these type of titles of
Like
these
I
types of.
do, not specifically, but I could say that. However, I work with a lot of real estate agents. So I
Right.
can put that in there. I work with real estate agents, coaches,
Real estate
trainers,
agents, coaches. Yeah,
trainers.
it's all
Yeah.
perfect because it's all tagging you. And then when a coach, when you're approaching a coach, or a coach is approaching you, they're reading that and they go, "Wow, you work with me," right? And the real estate agent says, "Wow, you do work with me." So that there's no debate when you get on the phone or meet with a person that you work with them or not. It's already in black and white, right? It's already clear. It has total clarity. And
Yeah.
that's the part where you actually be able to virtually sell online by having total clarity in your story, right? So it's not ambiguous. It's not, it's completely a clean story about what you provide to the world. So LinkedIn in itself is actually not a resume. When people think that's a resume, what it is the virtual story of your life, which therefore makes you an interesting person virtually online in that application. So, because if we're all the same, that's really boring.
Yeah.
I think, to be all the same is really boring. So your story is what separates you. And I think that's kind of true in work and employment and everything. It's,
Yeah.
what's your story? What's you about?
Yeah.
What's important to you? What are you passionate about? So those are the things that should be part of the summary as well.
Is
in
there
that
like
area.
does it matter how long it is? Is there something that like, should it be one paragraph, two paragraphs,
I
short
actually
and
use the
sweet?
max loud
Okay.
in the wording. And I do that because, again, it's a search, right? So it's part of actually putting in there. If you were to print my master profile at 30,000 people, it would be 24 pages long. So that's not a resume, right? A resume is maybe 1 or 2 pages long,
Yeah.
right? But if you were to print my entire profile with everything I put into it, it would be 24 pages long. So it's very intensive, right? So that means it's not a static, it's a virtual space that is meant to be found. And the reason it's 24 pages long is because I'm tagging multiple industries, spaces, backgrounds, and histories. So I will be found rapidly.
Yeah.
So that's why it's the reason LinkedIn has to be very complete is because you're being searched, right?
Okay.
So it's a search engine. So you want to be extremely complete. And some people forget to put important things in there, like volunteer work or their actual education, stuff that they've done for projects for people. These are all triggers for other people that could definitely get them employment because people relate to that. They may
Yeah.
say, "Oh, actually, we went to the same college. I didn't know that we went to the same college." And then we're part of an alumni network, which LinkedIn has alumni networks for almost every college. Every college out there has a group, alumni group for LinkedIn. And it's usually controlled, and you can actually see, like wherever you went to college, if you went to college, not that today it's mattering as much as it used to, you can go
I
and say,
started a business in my garage.
yeah, I mean, so did Bill Gates, and so did that guy named Steve Jobs. But
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is like you can use alumni networks to actually. One of the ways that I've got access to very high level people is that, for example, I can go into Stanford, and I can find everybody at Stanford that had a certain background, and I know that these certain tech people went to Stanford, right? So then I can get access to those people through the Stanford network.
Wow.
So it's like what I'm doing is we call that business intelligence work.
Yeah.
It's like the backdoor access. How do I get access to these people? I can't get access through a phone number. I can't get access to the email. They won't answer me. But if I can get access to the back door of where they went to college, then I can get access to them.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm figuring each way that I can get access to basically a person that I want to do work with, or I want my clients to do work with. And at this point in my career, it's really about my clients, what they want to get access to. So that's what I'm working with them specifically on, what they want to get access for. And I find that everybody is unique in that way. No one's the same. Even if they're a consultant, a coach, or they're at a coach, everybody has a different persona as a coach or a different angle as a coach. So everybody has a unique personality.
Yeah.
So there's a unique attraction to them in certain ways that people work with them. you know there's people who would want to work with you, for example, that would not fit with me, for example, right? They'd be more aligned to work with you, and maybe vice versa, right? They'd
Oh
be more
yeah.
like
I was
saying, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But I think that's kind of the reason that we have such abundance in the world. Like
yeah,
there's a lot of work for everybody.
there
you
is.
know yeah.
There is. And so here's a really cool thing, because we only have like a couple more minutes, but you can help people like in this group. Like they could work with you personally to grow their LinkedIn network so they could get in the twos.
Hmm.
They could make enough one connections that they would have access to their connections, which would really grow their network, which could help them get new clients, right?
Yeah,
So they can
exactly.
work with you, which is a really neat thing. So you guys have an opportunity working with Shaun one-on-one, and you can put your links and contact information below. But also, you can see him live and come and hang out with him for 3 days in November. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm really honored. I'm going to be at the CEO Women's Business Summit. We're both going to be speakers at that summit. I'm one of the male speakers at the summit, so I'm honored to be involved with that. I've been working with professional women now for 10 years, and a lot of the women I've worked with have been very successful and working directly with them, getting access to things so that they can get access to media or access to business. So I'm going to be honored to be at the event and speaking about that. And I'll let you even get all the details out to everybody as we're speaking as well. But I'm excited about the event. I think it's going to be a really important event. I think because we're just two of the people that are going to be there, but there's a lot of great information. I think people that attend this event, it's going to be a transformational event for them.
Yeah. The really neat thing is it's a different type of event. And if you've been to one before, but if you haven't, when you're in a room with, 100 to 200 other people, and you're learning things about yourself or your business or how to do something. I have a saying, it's you don't know what you don't know till you know it. Like you don't even know what you don't know. Like what we're going to share with you is going to blow your mind. And the cool thing is that there's 12 speakers. There's 4 a day, and each speaker has nuggets for you, has value for you. They have, like, everyone is there to help you do better and be better. And we're going to share our information and our skills and our knowledge with you that we spent, I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars, like learning and going to school and training for. And then we're going to come and share it with you for just a small investment on your part. But we'll put the link if you would like to get tickets. It's November 7th, 8th, and 9th, and Escondido is at Ventana Lexus Center. And we went and toured it the other day, and it is absolutely gorgeous. The venue's gorgeous. You get valet parking, gourmet food, and 12 amazing speakers, Shaun included. Myself, I will be there. We have just amazing things for you. I'm excited for the event. I'm excited that you are here today. I want to give you a minute or two to wrap up. Is there anything that you want to share that we did not cover?
Yeah, I think at the core of what we're talking about, we might be talking about an application, but what the core of what we're talking about is a tool that can help you get access to people in a different way. And the reason that people get involved with working with me is that it's not just that I'm teaching an application. I'm working specifically within their core of who they are and taking that application and telling their own story in it, right? And so that's what's really important. I think is to put personality into something, so it gives it a little bit of life, has a heartbeat to it. And that's what really attracts people to work with people, that there's this kind of emotional tie as well as a need, but there's an emotional tie as well.
Yeah. People do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
And this LinkedIn is a fabulous place. I didn't know a lot about it. I was, a little hesitant to use it. Raise your hand if you're going to go hop on LinkedIn after this call and go change a few things that are on your LinkedIn page, right? Thank you so much, Shaun, for being here. I'm super excited. I'm really excited about our event. It's a month away, and I will see you there. I will see all of you on Facebook. Have a fabulous day, and thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.